I think it was just, I don't want to say it was like a Napoleon complex, but now that I'm looking back onto it, I think it was like a battle of like the mighty, and
Yeah.
may the better short one win. I don't know.
Did you think anybody got the better of the other?
I think that Corey got pretty fucked up, but I think Corey handled herself in a way that allowed her to make Ashley act more than, I think Corey instigated her enough in conjunction with her own like fighting to have her hit her. I just think it was that. And I think they were really drunk too. Like I'm not excusing it, but when you're drunk and you're angry, like this is just gonna blow up.
And during the fight, watching it back, a lot of the fans felt like Jessica was giving Corey an unfair advantage because she was like pulling them down to the ground, which was like one of the reasons why she won, I guess. And I think she was kind of like holding Corey's arm. Did you agree with that, or did you think it was a fair fight?
Um, I don't remember anyone talking about Jessica holding her down at all. Um, could it have happened? Absolutely. I just think from the angle that I was at, I didn't see. Um, yeah, I think I that was one of the only fights that I was really like not a part of. Like I was just a lot on it. Like we're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, you looked like so lost when it was happening. You were just like,
I think I even had like a food in my hand or a drink, and I was like, I was going upstairs. I was in jeans. I remember exactly what I was wearing. I was in jeans. I was in a white like a Christian Audige kind of shirt, but it wasn't. And I was just like, dude, what the fuck? Like, and of course you see security first because you're like, oh, what's going on? And then you find out who's actually fighting. And you're like, oh,
and you're
yeah.
like, dude, I'm just trying to eat my sandwiches out of all nights. Tonight has to be the night.
That escalated quickly. No.
And you said that you actually didn't expect Ashley to go home after that. So were you surprised that it was like that Corey didn't for a reason?
The only way that that would have happened without me seeing it is if she hit her 1st.
Mhm.
Whoever hits the first part, like a closed fist. Because if you look at the fight with Wilma, I open palmed her and nothing happened because I was so drunk. I just stood there like.
Yeah.
In this case, I think whoever hit with a closed fist or was like the true aggressor would have gone home. And if that was the case, Ashley must have swung first to then warrant. Maybe that's actually what happened. Maybe Ashley swung and then Corey pushed her and then the fight came out. That's actually definitely what happened. That's probably most likely what happened because otherwise Corey would have gone home if she was the aggressor first. 100%.
Yeah, because Corey pushed her in the bedroom and then Ashley tried to swing at her in the bedroom, but you guys like I think Jessica held her back, and then Corey was standing in the hallway, and then Ashley came and punched her.
Yeah, Jessica was definitely holding her back unfairly. Now that I remember this now,
So,
she was like she was just like a second too late for everything, and I just felt like it was she didn't need to be. That's why I was there to stand. Like if they wanted to fight, they could fight. I'll be here to guard. She didn't. Jessica didn't need to be involved. But I think, but again, Jessica was doing that the whole season. She got into a fight with Maher and Char. Like that was the thing. It's like she kept stepping into these fights that weren't her fights after the fact, and it was like, what do you know?
going on this because you know how it took a while for production and security to come up and stop the fight. I know that there's in these houses always a room for production and security. Can you tell us if you recall where they were?
They were actually there was a guest house in the property. So if you pulled into the garage, like up the driveway to the garage, the house was to the left. There was this little walkway that would like go to this other door to the right, and that was the production house.
Okay, and you had
So
a
they weren't
bat
actually,
phone to communicate with them and
yeah,
everything.
they weren't actually in the house. They were separate from
Okay.
the house. And then like there was like a laundry room from their room or their thing. The laundry room was right before you walked into the house, like from the driveway, like main entrance to the right. Excuse me, with the laundry room, and that's where we would always get mic'd up before we went into the house.
Okay, but I'm sure I'm sure people won't care about this, but like it excites me to hear stuff like the behind the scenes stuff. How often did you guys have to change your mic batteries and?
I'm all about behind the scenes stuff because that is actually what excites me. So that was actually what was starting to happen, like psychologically toward the end. I was just watching the patterns of like the guard change and like how this works, and like you start to. I'm an observant person when it comes to that. So batteries, once a day, give or take, and if like you fucking slept with it, it would burn your back. Like Lauren and I both had like a burn because
I heard they get super hot.
dude, so hot, and like
Yeah.
that's what it is. But yeah, it was about once a day. It was battery change.
Okay.
If your mic died while you were like in a fight, you would have like the guy with the microphone like really close to you, then it would be like, once the fight would end, they're like, hey, go change your battery. And you're like, oh, okay.
Okay.
And then if you talked without your battery, you would get in trouble.
Would you get fined? Because I know
Hell yeah.
girls got fined.
Because
Because that's one of the main things in your contract, right? But you're not allowed to talk without your mic on.
Bingo. Like, that's why in the morning, like, you'll see girls get up, walk past each other, but don't say anything. It's not because we're being rude. It's like, we can't.
You're literally going to get your mic or something right now?
Yes, like, literally. Like, that's your first thing you should do. So what I would do is I would get up, I would go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, go to the bathroom. And then I would call production to get my mic put in so I don't have to, like.
So smart. And if a girl's like coming to you up in the bathroom, you're like, nope, get out. Nope, don't talk to me.
And we all knew. It was just kind of like me. And there are cameras in the non-toilet sections of the bathroom. So if you were talking, that would cue production to come and help because you were standing there talking. So.
All right. So let's get back into soon after that fight happened, Jen expressed to the girls at a dinner that she didn't consider the BGC house as a family because everybody talks about each other. Now, looking back on that, do you agree with her or do you feel like she was just being dramatic?
She was correct, but we weren't there to be a family. Like, so is her perception of the situation correct? Absolutely. But it was never meant to be a sorority. It was never meant to be friendly. So again, that was a sign of weakness to me. And I was like, oh, she's going home. Like, doesn't belong. Bye. Like, it's just, that was like, whatever.
Yeah. Did you feel bad for kicking her out? At the time.
She was on the fence about going.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that, so it was like, well, maybe if I push her out, she'll just go. So she came out of it, and I was like, yep, you're done. You're going home today. And then I honestly didn't know there was a cab at the end of the driveway at all. Like, I had no idea. So, like, I'm, like, pushing her down this, and I'm like, I was like, there's a cab. Holy, like, ask him to shall appear. Like, this is what just happened. So.
Poor driver, he's watching that and is like, what am I getting myself into?
I don't ever feel like she really unpacked, though. I don't feel like she was ever, like, home. It was like, she didn't want to say anything to piss people off. She agreed on a surface level with certain girls just to like kind of not start a fight, but she was never really like an aggressor to something. Or I mean, at one point production was like, you guys need to stop getting your nails done. Like, you need more, like, stop going to get your nails done. Like, we were just so bored. Like, we were just trying to find things to do with each other and, with the ones that we liked. And it was like, stop going shopping and stop going to get your nails done.
Because we need more footage, like, of arguing or something.
That's why I'm like, oh my God, you did that. I'm like, shh, like, you have no idea what happened this entire week. Like, we were friends Monday through Friday. Saturday, somebody spilled a drink and the whole fucking house burned down. Like, we get it.
That's why I like doing these interviews, because I want people to see like the other side and the unshown stuff, because I always say this, there's 45 minutes out of each in a week of probably what's filmed for 2 weeks. And like, there's so many hours and days of unshown footage that we don't see because they have their own story, that they want to put together, when probably if we saw it, like if we were in that house, it's probably completely different.
I'm trying to think if there was anything when I came home that I was like, oh, that was really, really weirdly portrayed. I think the only thing that was really portrayed poorly, in my opinion, was the whole situation with Corey in her hand. I'm like, ugh, like, really? I knew I was going to be villainized that week. It was just rough because I'm like, I gotta wait 7 days for this to end. But, it's a story, if one goes down, the next episode's going to go up. The next one's gonna end, And so I knew I'd be in the clear at some point. So I don't know.
It must have been cool to watch, though.
Definitely. It was definitely, it was cool to see it. I remember leaving when I left to get to LAX, go home. It was like the next day, like the advertisements went out. And I was like, that was the other thing. It was like, you were filmed for so long. Then you're like released to go out into the wild. And I would get like the whole airport. I just kept looking over my shoulder because no one knew who I was yet. And I just filmed this insane thing. And I'm like, damn it. Like, I'm PTSD in the airport. Like, well, and then like landed when I got to the East Coast, and it was like the promo went out. I was like, oh my God, it's happening. It's so cool.
That must have been such a crazy day to see that and be like, holy shit, that's me.
It was so cool. Like,
was there ever a time where like you got home and you like thought that you needed to like go get mic'd up?
No, but I was like, I looked over my shoulder a lot for like the first couple of weeks, just because I wasn't used to somebody not being there, or I don't know. It's weird. You get used to being watched, and it's just like,
There's one more main girl that I want to talk about, and then I want to get into a couple of other things. But so you're in the house. I mean, I know you guys are cool, but your BFF in the house, Wilmarie, made her entrance, and you guys were on your way to dinner, and she kind of got like a little bit of a cold welcome. Was there something about her that threw you guys off, or was it just bad timing? Like, because Jen then said, "Oh, what?" when she said her name's Wilmarie. So
I think I had no issue with her initially.
Mhm.
I think by that point we're at number 3 or 4 in replacements, and we were just like, "What? We have 3 weeks left or 4 weeks left. What are you possibly going to bring to this table that we have not seen already?" And that was the other thing. We knew as a replacement coming in that late that she would be slightly aggressive. Like I knew that because it's like, why would you put somebody in who likes to read? Like you need somebody who's going to fight. So I knew it would go one of two ways. I also knew that when they were bringing in multiple people from New Jersey, that they were 100% trying to take me out, which was never going to happen.
My next question.
Oh yeah, like nah. When I saw the second Jersey person, I was like, "That's cute! Oh my god!"
You know what? We were thinking about that when we were writing these questions because we were like, at that time, Jersey Shore was really big. So I don't know if production was trying to like carry some of that into Bad Girls Club,
Yes,
make it a little bit more relevant, you know?
100%. That's exactly what I thought too. Which again, part of the reason why my tattoo is GTL. Like it was like such a Jersey thing. And actually, I have a funny story about that. Oh my god, one of my best friends today, like literally one of my best friends today,
Uh-huh.
has a fucking GTL tattooed on her lip, and that was like, dude, we were like talking in conversation one day. Like it's the weirdest, most random, or is it, coincidence that when I was like, yeah, it's like she was like, oh, where are you from? I'm like, oh, I'm from New Jersey. She's like, well, I have GTL tattooed on my lip. I was like, me too. And to this day, we're like really good friends. And it's like she's not from New Jersey.
I mean, you got to be at that point.
Oh, totally. It's crazy. But anyway, where was I going with that? Yeah, no, they were definitely riding that curtail of what was going on and what was trendy, and I knew that, and I was like, oh.
So did that annoy you? Did you think that it was like competition at all? Like when they were bringing other girls from Jersey in?
After Jen, when Wilma said she was from New Jersey, I was like, here we go.
Yeah.
This is who is sent to take me out. I know
Yeah.
this. So as soon as I saw her, I was like, okay, well, as soon as the dramatic started and the nonsense, I was like, okay, this is going to come down to one of two things. We are either going to have a physical altercation, or I'm going to outsmart her in every single way that gets her so mad that she will put her hands on me first. And I chose that route because I wasn't going home. Again, third person from New Jersey. No, I didn't make it all this way to make it all this way. Like I had a duty to my future fans to not leave that house when I left it.
Well, you kind of ended up liking Wilma, I think, because she started going at it with Jen, the other person that you hated. So did you think Wilmarie had what it took to get her out of the house?
I did. I knew that. Like I actually, again, I don't know how it was perceived because I can't remember. Like we were actually, me, her, and Lauren were pretty cool in the beginning, like really cool. I don't remember what happened that set the switch off. I'm sure if my memory is jogged, I'll remember. But I don't really remember what it was that flipped that switch.
I think it was literally just her saying when she was like, "My name's Wilmarie," and she was like, "Oh, what?" I think it was just like a disrespect thing, you know. And then
totally.
And then when drinks started flowing, that's when the argument started in the limo. And then it's like, you know, I walked in here and everybody was kind of cold, and then you said this, so I think that's how it started.
Yeah, and again, she had to prove herself to herself. She didn't have to prove anything to me or anybody else in the house. I think it was just more of like, I am here and I am not a replacement.
What do you think was the reason as to why Jen's attitude switched up once Wilmarie started going at her compared to when you and Lauren went at her? Because it was kind of different.
Shit. I haven't thought about this. Hold on.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, she was like screaming at y'all, and then she was kind of a little bit more chill with Wilmarie, not as aggressive.
I think because she was probably afraid. Like there was, yeah, I think she knew. Like I'm gonna play. We can go head to head. Like it's just, yeah. No, I think it had to do with like strategically aligning herself so that she had a buddy, but not a buddy to the point where she is willing to fight for this person and then get thrown out of the house. So I think that's kind of, she was just playing it safe. You can't play it safe in the Bad Girls Club. You will get sent home.
Okay.
Like, that's what it is. Like everybody who tried to play it safe went home.
Okay. And with Jen being one of the 3 girls on the show from Jersey, looking back on it, like having your head in the game, in that house. Did you think that she represented Jersey well?
In that moment, yes, of course. Like she represented like the housewives of New Jersey. Just that, Teresa Giudice, like that was her. Like if you could extrapolate like or imagine her future as like a housewife, she would be on that show. Like that's the vibe she was. She was bougie, she was classy, she likes, high-end handbags. And at the time, like I was not into any of that stuff. So for me, it's like it was just two different worlds. Yeah, no, she's funny.
I want to like catch up with her. I haven't seen much of her, but is she just like more low key, and not on social media
she's
much?
doing her thing. She's funny. I mean, we pretty much talk every other day, like in text of some sort.
Oh, so you guys are that cool. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, we were, like I said, we were just in Vegas together 8 weeks ago, and that was like the first time we'd ever done something together since the show, and that was super cool. And it was just a really good time. Like it was just crazy. Then you posted pictures, and people were like, "Oh my god, you're friends." We're like, "No, I just asked her to come to my $5,000 table at Cosmopolitan so I could fight her." Like,
well, I'm glad you guys were able to 10 years later. I'm not saying that it's you guys just did that, but we're able to put the stupid drama aside and be cool.
oh, totally. And of course, like for the record, like I apologize to her, like, and then I'm all about self-reflection and like, how could this have been better? And like, I told her straight up, like, you're actually a really cool person. And like, the only reason, again, to the point of Ashley and her, I said to her straight up, I said, at that time, you were a threat to me, clearly, for whatever that reason was. And because of that, because of my own insecurity, because of my own dominance issues in the house, like I was a bitch to you. And I'm sorry for that. Like, I apologize. I apologize to her. Like, we are cool.
That takes a lot of maturity to do that, to own up to that.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, look at me now. I have long blonde hair. At the time, she had long blonde hair. Like, it could have been all this subconscious, like, negative energy that I was projecting from my own self. I mean, we were in the Baddies Club, there's no, if it was real life, absolutely not. I would not treat her that way. But hey, welcome to the Baddies Club.
So with your other friend, well, I guess you guys weren't really cool then. You and Jessica, her and Lauren went at it when you guys like targeted her, and Jessica and Lauren actually got into like a pretty big fight.
Was that the makeup room one?
Yeah, this was one where you swung on her. So what made you swing on her that time versus like the other fights that Lauren may have gotten in?
She actually clipped Lauren and nobody saw it. That's the thing.
Like
she actually got Lauren. Like she actually made contact with Lauren. And so when I saw that happen, like I was like reaching, but by that point she was being pulled away. And I remember something about the camera angle not getting it. Because when that actually aired, I went back to look at it. I was like, what actually happened? What actually happened? Because I would never in my life like hit somebody from behind or like not like, and it was a weird, like she had hit Lauren so fast, I was in the movement of it, but then security pulled her in a way that allowed me to then hit her in a weird way. Yeah. So it was just like, again, because if I was an open palm to her face, I would have gone home. So there was something about that where there was a clip that wasn't shown, and it happened so fast that I don't even really remember. But I wasn't drinking that day at all. Like it was their fight.
Okay. Yeah, because you didn't hit her right in the face because, like you said, she was being pulled away by security, and I think you got her like on the side of the head.
And that wasn't like it wasn't security held her and then they set me up to hit her. It was just you fucking bit what?
It was very fast. Like I think you were trying to get her before she even like got taken by security.
Yes, that's literally exactly what happened. And then I don't remember what happened.
Well, after that, you immediately like apologized and you guys made amends. Did you understand why Lauren was hurt after that?
Yeah, I mean, she probably was hurt, but again, I was apologizing for an action that I had done, not on behalf of their fight. And to Lauren at the time, I probably could have felt disloyal, but at the end of the day, I stand by my actions and my words. For me to Jessica, it was me clearing my conscience with her because I didn't have bad blood with her. I was simply defending Lauren, and that didn't change me and Lauren's dynamic on my end. On Lauren's end, it could have because she was a little bit insecure at that point. But I wasn't changing my friendship level with her because I said sorry to somebody else. Like, that's not how I am.
So was it just like a self-defense, or not self-defense, just defending your friend?
Yeah.
It was just like an on-site thing, like you didn't even think about it, and that's why once it was done, you felt bad?
literally, it was like an instant reaction. I was like, oh my God, that was not my intention. Again, part of the reason why for the apology was because of how she was pulled away. And they made it look like I just came up and was hitting her while she was being pulled away. That wasn't actually the case. Like, it just happened way too fast. I think that there was no, like, I don't know, there's only one camera. Got it, right? So that's really what you're getting.
Yeah, I mean, it was literally like 5 seconds.
I know.
I think like maybe a couple of days go by, or maybe even the same day, whatever. You guys are in the car, and you turn on Wilmarie a bit, and you call her a replacement, knowing that was the one thing that she never wanted to be called. So, what made you do that?
I think it was really like we had probably 2 or 3 weeks left at that point, and I was like, YOLO, let's do this. Like, what's the worst that can happen? Just like when I slapped her and just stood there, like, tell me you've never been in a fight without telling me you've never been in a fight. Okay.
Yeah, that was my next question. I was like, so, and then you go in the limo, and you guys, were you trying to instigate the fight? You just wanted something to happen?
We, at that point, every single one of us was wound so tight. So if you even look in the limo, no one was partaking because everyone in the limo was just like over this. Wilma wanted to fight. I was irritating her. Me and Jessica were doing our thing. Lauren and I, we were just all kind of there. Not really, this is no excuse. I don't really remember I didn't remember any of that fight until I got the DVD and was like, okay, this is really what happened. I do remember going to a hotel that night. And then this is like a fun fact. They give you this like piece of shit, like 2-digit phone that has like 2 numbers to call. It's like Jill, it's
like a crackhead phone.
Literally, like it's a crackhead phone and the bat phone, right? And so I'm in the hotel room like that night, like the best night of sleep I had the entire time.
I bet.
Bro, I cracked the code and called my dad.
That's hilarious. Wait, what was your code?
It came, I think it was like 1, 2, 3, 4. It was something very like dumb. It was like
they dumb as hell.
And then because they take your hotel phone away, like they want to make sure you can't talk to anybody. I was like, nah. So I got sent there. She got sent to a hotel, I think, also. And then that actually came up in my exit interview. They're like,
yeah, that's pretty stupid of them to do. Like, if you're gonna give me a phone, at least make the password like ridiculous.
Oh my God! And I remember my dad was asking. He was like, "Are you gonna get sent home?" I was like, "I don't think so. I think they would have done it. Like, I think they would have sent me home." So like, I was kind of hyped going back into the house. Let's fucking do
this. The phone thing is really funny because the other Nikki from BGC10 that I recently interviewed, she said that when she got put in a hotel, she actually paid off the security guard that was outside her hotel room, and she was like, "Just go get food. Like, just leave me alone here." And he was like, "Okay."
Literally, knowing what I know now, I would have probably done the same thing. Like, and honestly, at that point, the hotel was like, it was kind of a retreat. Like, it was nice. Like, I had a minute to breathe. I didn't have to worry about my crap.
Not all those lights in your face.
No one's bothering me. I could sleep in a pitch black room. Like, I remember things about it that was just like a nice. And honestly, if I didn't go to the hotel, I don't know if I would have been like as amicable towards the end of the show, only because I was so like, I want to go home.
Yeah, I mean, you get one night away from all the chaos. I mean, even though you said you don't care, you like the drama and shit, but I mean, honestly, I think
I value my sleep over drama.
Exactly. Anybody would be fine with that. So another thing that fans were speculating is that 2 of your fights with Wilmarie that you had took place the same day. Is that true by any chance? If that's the case, was it weird watching it back? Because that may have been like a manipulation in editing.
I don't remember.
No.
Which fights are you referencing? The one in the orange tank top and the slap, or is it?
So the limo and the lamp one. That's the one. Those are the
limo and lamp were legit the same day.
Okay.
That was dude, we fought on the way home, and then we got in the house. We're like, fuck you too. We did it again. So again, that happened, and then she of course grabs the lamp. I'm over here like, what is going on? That's why, like, when I slapped her, it was like I was belligerently like blacked out. No recollection. Like, when I look at that, I was just like, who would slap somebody and just stand there? Run, at least run. Like, but those 2 were the same day. Okay. And then they were like, listen, you got to cut the shit out. We're like, okay, no.
So was it weird watching that back? Because they didn't make it seem like it was the same. Those 2 were the same day. Definitely manipulated. Seemed like completely different.
They were so much like I said, there was like one scene, and I can even probably pull it from like episode 3 or 4. Was like I was wearing this one dress, went out with my hair literally blown out straight, and then I came home with wet curly hair.
Yeah,
they're not the same day. So sure, there's things that they do to make it look like a certain thing happened. But again, nothing personally offended me, because when you're at the mercy of another at a television show, they can make you look however you want. So your best bet is to be as much of you as you can, so that no one can question that.
And that's how they try to get you too. I mean, with casting, I mean, they will catch you so fast if you say something that they can tell is not who you are. That's how, you know how you were saying, like, when you were in the casting process, people are like, oh, I'm a bad girl because, like, I fight all the time. They're going to be like, okay, next person.
Great. And I'm a bodybuilder because I eat all the time. Like,
yeah. It's like, okay, everyone in this line has said that. Like, next, we're trying to find someone unique.
Literally. They were like, oh, so what do you do? I'm like, I play football. They were like, what? I'm like, what? Like, okay. Tell me more.
So I want to know why you continued to fight Wilmarie in the house. Did you have a goal? Was it to get her out, or did you?
Yeah, I wanted her to go home. I wanted to send another person home. Like, that was my personal agenda, was like seeing how many people I can get sent home. Truly, like they all wanted to talk shit. Like, yeah, this, that, and the other. Not one of these bitches brought a guy home. Not one of them. Like, they were all like, oh my god, you do this, this, and this. I'm like, okay, so what do you do? Crickets, like nothing. So I think with Wilma at that point, it was just like, listen, we were gonna finish what we started. The orange shirt situation was a couple days later. Okay. Like, that was like the final, like, I think we cooled it off for a week, and we're like, yeah, no. And my original plan, I actually, now I can talk about it because it's not on the show, but my original plan was I was waiting in bed because I knew that she was going to come and try to find me. And so I was like waiting there to scare her. But then I forget, like, Lauren was in on it too. Like, she knew that what was happening. I just don't remember how it actually evolved. I had done something to her that I knew she would come to my room for, to which I would then just get up and like hit her with a pillow. And that's why I was following her around with this pillow. And I think it was I was wearing the orange shirt. That was the final fight, I think, that's what you're going to go home. And it's only because I kept shit-talking and was like, hey, you gonna do this? What? Want to hear the most annoying noise in the world?
So you were trying to, like, jump scare her?
No, I was just like, yeah, kind of, honestly. And I knew, like, at the time, I knew inherently I didn't hate her. And I knew she didn't hate me. Yeah. It was just more of like, we have 2.5 weeks left. Like, are we doing this or are we doing this?
Right. And, like, either I'm gonna go to bed or we're gonna duke it out.
And that's the thing, because nobody else was really involved. If you see, like, no one else was involved. It was the two of us the whole time. So,
by the way, can I just point out that I love that when she's like yelling at you and like pulling your covers off, you're doing a crossword puzzle and you just like didn't give a shit.
Dude, Lauren and I did so many crossword puzzles. Like, we were like, and that's the other thing. When they would like walk in the room and we hated them, we would be like this, peasant, did you find that one yet? And like we would just yell shit, and they would be like, fuck you. We're like,
you were literally perfect for a show like that, because you would know how to push people's buttons and just irritate the shit out of them.
The amount of people that have told me that I should go on Big Brother, I'm like, dude,
you should. Natalie Nunn went on there, and I didn't see much
of it. At it.
She just yelled at everyone.
Of course she did, because she has no talent. That's why. I said it. It's okay.
Ooh.
The Had Girls Club, the Had Been Club, like, it's okay.
Well, what do you just don't like her?
I just think that people that do the same thing over and over again with absolutely zero evolution are boring. Like, this reality. You were on a television show 15 years ago. What do you do today? The same thing every day.
Have you seen Baddies?
Okay, so I saw a little bit about that because I do follow Judy. They all kind of ganged up on her. Did this thing go weird? Like, did she not have a space to sleep? Like, what happened?
She had to share a bed with Sydney Starr, or a room with her, because apparently it was like the last room, and I don't know. It was just weird.
It was super weird.
They tried to make it like a new Bad Girls Club, but like reinvented, I guess, and they
did the same thing.
All producers, and it just, in my opinion, it didn't work out.
No, again, you're doing the same thing. Like, even 20 seasons of Bad Girls Club, you're doing the same thing. I also find it personally offensive when people that have zero exercise science knowledge or personal training certifications claim to be a trainer of some sort. That's not the case. It takes years of schooling. It takes walking around looking like an actual statue to be able to claim those things. So when people try to, I do that, you don't do that. You're a poser.
Yeah, I kind of got, this isn't compared to, how certain certifications and stuff. But I got a little bit irritated when I heard that they were like 3 of them were producers, and I'm like, you've never produced anything before. How are you producing this show? And then at the end of it, they all spoke about how it went to shit. And I'm like,
Yeah,
because you didn't have the training for this. You didn't
what
go
a
to school for
concept.
this. I'm like, how do you just go from a TV show to being an executive producer? How does that work?
Spoiler alert, you don't.
And by the way, I'm just pointing out, I do like a lot of the bad girls on that show. It's just, I think the structure of that show was completely non-existent.
From what I've heard, let me back up. I don't really know who was on that show, literally, except for Judy.
Mhm.
I didn't really follow anybody after our season. I know a couple of ones that stood out. But I think specifically for that show, the talent was there. It was just mishandled.
I agree.
Like, it would be like me producing, something that was self-serving to me. If I'm going to be a producer on it, it's going to help me out. It's not going to help them out. So I think that they signed up thinking it was going to be something different, and then it turned out to be this. But again, look who was in charge of it. It's not going to go anywhere.
It almost turned into like a slap in the face for the fans.
Totally. Like, people were hype. They're getting message, you should be on the show. I'm like, no, I should not.
No, yeah. I mean, it would have been entertaining, but I don't think it wasn't the same. It just wasn't. It wasn't it.
No, I totally agree.
So okay, going back up to your fight with Wilmarie, the house was like against you again.
No way.
Right after that fight?
I didn't really care. That was before Mexico, or was that after Mexico?
Before.
Was Wilma in Mexico?
Wilma wasn't. Yeah, Wilma was in Mexico.
So the fight was after Mexico then. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I mean, not the final fight or anything. It was
okay.
It was the first one.
Yeah, I didn't really care. I mean, it was like, okay, you're gonna be mad at me for what? Like, you guys are not doing anything. You have no room to talk. Like, if they were the ones that were chiming in and doing things, I'd be like, okay, fine. But no one was doing anything. So it's like, who are you to tell me what to do or what not to do when you guys are doing nothing?
Yeah.
So that's what it kind of came down to.
And then you went to Cabo and you weren't really on speaking terms with anyone. Did you wish that you would have reconciled with anyone so that you would have had a better time? Or were you cool with being alone?
I was totally cool with being alone. Like, again, I'm a professional bodybuilder. Like, my entire life is spent alone doing cardio, doing my training, doing all this other stuff. So when specifically with that, so we get to Mexico and half of us are talking terms, half of them are not. And so as soon as we checked into the hotel room, we're like over the balcony, like they were like, oh, like go look at your, view. Okay, great. So we look down, there's like this wedding party. And so our camera crew's down there, they're filming, we're up there, we're waving. So it's time to go out. We end up going to Senor Frogs, which is like a hop, skip, and a jump away. We walk there, we're on the dance floor, we're dancing, we're having a great time. And all of a sudden it's like, this guy bumps into me and he's like, look at my friend Nikki. And I'm like, Cito? And he's like, Nikki? I'm like, Cito? And he's like, what? And so like, we're on the dance floor, like literally vibing. The other girl's like, oh my God, how does she know somebody here?
So that wasn't planned, him coming, like, to see you.
He was part of the wedding party that was in that city at that time.
That must have felt awesome.
Totally. I was like, yes, I'm free. And but anyway, like I haven't seen them in probably a year and a half before that because I lived in California and I lived in Denver at the time. So it was very weird. So he's like, hold on, I'm gonna go upstairs, I'm gonna get my girlfriend Dana, I'll be right back. So he fucking runs upstairs. I'm like, yes, somebody to hang out with. And he brings Dana down. We hang out for like most of the night, and it was just like, oh my God, and again, another reason for them to hate me. But what's even funnier is that when I was there, I ended up getting that sombrero. Like, I don't know if you remember. It was like
the huge ass one.
I love that sombrero. Like, authentic. Like, I wanted the most authentic sombrero I can find, like with the actual Mexican flag on there. Like, I wanted a sombrero. So I ended up going through security on the way home in the sombrero. Mind you, I wore it every single place that we went to. Like, in between doorways, I had to like tilt my head. And, like, they were just so mad at me that I had this fucking hat. I was like, whatever. I'm ready.
Please tell me you still have it.
No, and that's the part that's sad. Like, it was taken during security.
Oh, that sucks.
I was so upset because I loved that hat. Like, that was like my memory.
That would have been a perfect memory to bring back home after the show.
I know, it's fine. I'll just go back to Mexico and get another one.
Yeah, at least you had a good time while you weren't talking to anybody else. That was a perfect time for him to show up.
I mean, listen, like I started with no one talking to me. I can end with no one talking to me. Like,
true.
It was fine.
So then your final fight with Wilma happens during the finale, and I want to know what your thoughts were watching it all back. Because, the viewer's response, it's like, you were the most physically imposing cast member. and they were like, oh, well, she's getting beat up, but I didn't think you were fighting back, like that much. So
I was not fighting back. Like, here's the thing. The person who closed fist hit somebody first is generally going to go home.
Mm-hmm.
Again, not a fighter. Literally have never been in a fight in my life until the show. And I can't even really call it a fight. It's like I hit somebody and they retaliated against me. You know what I mean? It wasn't really like, hey, we're going at it, we're squaring up. So when it came to her, it was just one of those things where it was like, I knew that she was going to go home if she continued to beat on me. So it was like, what, security's coming. Like, why would I lift my face to ruin this when it's going to be handled accordingly? So for me, it was like a logistical thing rather than like here's my ego.
So you were happy though that you got another person out of the house.
Yeah, that was fun. Well, it wasn't even like it wasn't that it came out to like the physicality of it. For me, it was more like, wow, like this chess game, literally, like it was like I could see exactly what was going to happen, and I was like, do, oh, and you're gone.
Like you played it the way you wanted to, right?
Yeah.
So how you were kind of talking about this earlier when we were discussing the final days, but you kind of squashed all the drama with everybody. So were the final days actually really like chill and cool as how they made the exit scene?
It was literally that. Like, it was actually almost like too drawn out because each person had to leave on a different day in order to get exit interviews squared away, and like they couldn't do 5 or 6 of them in the same day. So it was like one would go and we'd be like stuck. It was like one would go and we'd be stuck. But I knew I was going to leave last. I just knew it. And here we were. I was like, was it me and Char? Was it me and Char the last 2?
Yep.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And you guys were pretty cool at the end.
We really didn't exchange nasty words at all. Like,
yeah, that's true.
The entire season. If you look at the entire season, it was everybody had a problem between me and her, but me and her never had a problem with one another.
It was just because you were in the same clique with Lauren.
That's it. She didn't like Lauren's, and I was obviously viewed that way because I was friends with Lauren,
and she called you immature, but that was it, I think.
Yeah, and like Lauren didn't do anything to me. Not even like, sure, she might have said crap, but she didn't do anything to me, and she never came at me before we were friends.
Right.
Play the game. Play the game. Don't let the game play you.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, if I ever go on the show like that, you're going to be the person that I hit up and be like, hey, I need
your manager. All right, here's what I'm going to do.
I know, I need to just like put like a little bug in my ear and be like, all right, Nikki, come talk to me.
I couldn't even imagine what it would be like to be on a reality television show now, because like technology is way more advanced. Like social media is, relevant. Like it's just, wow.
It's not the same anymore. I mean, as much as I like watching reality TV still, all the shows just aren't the same. They were so much better when they were just simple.
Yes.
And they didn't have all these technicalities in them. And it's like,
that's kind of what I feel like about the show Survivor. Like the original couple seasons were amazing. It was like, here's the concept. You're on an island, do this. And then it was like, you started adding in this rule and this rule. And now no one's following that. Like, I feel like I agree with you 100% on that reality side.
Even the Real Worlds, like the Real World, the original seasons are fucking amazing. And then they start doing these twists like what X is and stuff. And it wasn't good.
Well, it's funny about actually that you mentioned that. So the only show that I actually ever applied to in college was The Real World. Mm-hmm. And it was here in Boulder, and like here in Colorado in Boulder. But I didn't get it. It was like probably 6 months before the Bad Girls Club. And then when somebody wrote to me about the Bad Girls Club, I was like, oh, this is interesting. I just applied for this. What is this? What's interesting is that when I got to LA for my final interview, I came out of the interview and I literally was square face to face with the guy who had recruited me for Real World in Boulder. And I'm looking at him and he's looking at me and he's like, Nikki? And I'm like, I don't remember I was like, Real World casting? And he's like, yes, Boulder. And I was like, you did remember me. Like, it was just weird because Bina Murray Productions did the recruitment for Bad Girls Club, which is the same as, Real World. So I was like, that's really funny. What a small world.
And I heard that a lot of bad girls they signed up for Real World and then they didn't get on the Real World, but Bad Girls Club called and they were like, hey, we know you signed up for the Real World, but you would be better for this show. So I think they were just smarter with like picking you for.
Oh, I would do that in a heartbeat. I love the Real World. That was like an OG show. Like people were like themselves. It was like the time where like, being gay wasn't like super like out in the open. Like, so people would have their come out stories. Like, remember Rachel? Like Rachel from like OG Rachel? I took her fucking classes in Miami at Barry's boot camp because she was an OG, like straight up.
I think you would be really good on that show, but like they really picked your personality for Bad Girls Club because they knew what they were doing. They knew that you would get to everybody and get to under everybody's skin on that show.
It's fine.
Did
I'm
a good
okay with
job.
that. Thank you.
So let's get to the reunion, because that comes, and when you were preparing for that, did you expect yourself to be a target, or what was going through your head?
Honestly, I honestly thought that I was going to be the most boring person at said reunion because it didn't have anything to do with me. It was literally, this is what happened. Bitches went home, realized they were portrayed like a follower, got mad about it after the show happened, decided to come back with an attempted vengeance to like get back at Char when Char didn't do anything. You guys willingly chose to side with this person who then had you doing things for this person. It's not Char's fault. It's just your fault. So they all came at Char mad because they felt like they were manipulated. You did it. I didn't feel badly. Like it was like no one came at me. I was like, all right.
So were you upset about the fight that happened with Char and Sydney? Like, I don't know. Like, were you guys cool at that point? You and Char? Like, were you guys in contact?
She fought her own battles and nothing to do with me. Like I wasn't, and to look at it from a bigger, grander scheme, for me to step in to defend Char on this last show, like on this last episode, when everybody did that the whole season for her. No, honey, you can drown. Like this is still a show.
True. That's true.
So also again with the whole Sydney thing, it was like she was always too late. Like you can't get mad about something after. Handle it like a boss before you leave the house, and that's it. Not I'm going to go home with all my resources in bed and my home and privacy to come back to a reunion where we've been hell. No.
How long was it after you guys filmed the show? Did you do the reunion? Was it like a couple months or weeks or what?
We stopped filming right before Thanksgiving. I feel like we filmed the reunion somewhere in January or through March. I flew out to LA a couple times because it was part of like the series that they had of like certain shows or certain episodes that they had, and you like would do the interviews, the after tea or whatever.
Right.
I feel like we were all flown out after some of it had aired. I really feel like we had seen a lot of it. Otherwise, people wouldn't have known how they were portrayed. So
exactly.
I think it had to have been a little bit after. The show aired January 10th through whatever 12 weeks is, so April. So I feel like we filmed in March towards the end, when things were already aired, because like a few of us got DVDs of stuff that was coming up that we didn't know was happening. So I think it was towards the end, like March, give or take.
So were you able to watch the entire season or just part of it?
Most of it. That we saw most of it, and then for like individual episodes after that, like one or two, I think we all got copies of the DVDs. That was what was going to air, and then they brought us in to film the reunion and do a couple of retakes for like random interviews. Like if you're like an enthusiast, you'll see like in the interviews, like we would all be wearing the same outfit, but then there's one or two of them were like really done up and really pixelated. That was filmed the day of the reunion because they needed to backtrack and have things edited in, so it made more sense for the storyline.
Yeah, can you give us any insight on what the hell happened with Jade and Corey with the whole cake fight? Like it literally turned into a physical altercation because of cake.
Yeah, it was Jade and Corey.
Yeah, Jade got mad that Corey like put cake in her face when you guys were all having a cake fight as a joke.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, relevant. Like if I get mad now, it makes a point. But you had a chance on day one, then you did nothing. So I ran. I was like, dude. No cake over here.
Okay, I just didn't know if there was something that we missed or if that's legit what happened.
No, girls are weird, man. Like you did this. You did it more. Oh.
So outside of your season, are there any scenes in Bad Girls Club that stick out to you before and after yours, for good or bad reasons?
There's certain people from certain shows that I liked. Again, this is more about leading up into my show because after my season filmed, I really didn't pay attention. Again, I didn't really pay attention beforehand. However, in order for me to be like well versed going into this, I started to watch them so I could be like, okay, this is what they expect. There's always this kind of character. There's always this kind of character. And so I was trying to understand the dynamic of the show. I really liked the Miami season. I think I don't know. That was partially because I had been there, but also like I've lived there for 5 years previous or up until this point. Miami was really fun for me just because it was like, it was right before my season. It was a different city than LA. I got I like the change of scenery. So when you're ever in a different city, that stands out to me. And again, the 3 seasons that stand out to most of me are my season. And then it's Judy's season, which was what, Louisiana?
Judy is...
It was the South, right?
Yeah. It was... No, I think you were correct.
Judy's, yeah, I'm pretty sure...
Creole, yeah.
New Orleans. That's what it
New
was.
Orleans. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know why I was
No,
blanking.
I was doing the same thing too. But between her season and then Miami, I liked that they did it in different cities. I understand from a production standpoint, it's cheaper to do it in LA.
Yeah.
But I think the seasons became more memorable because of the different cities. So that, to me, that was one of the things. Honestly, after season 7, it was just so regurgitated, like the same thing, just different variations, different level of ratchetness, same kind of. I'm gonna pick a fight and establish that. Like, we get it.
Oh, and you know how you said doing it in different cities because of certain reasons. Did you guys ever get kicked out of places to where you couldn't go back there? Because I know that's another reason why they try to do it in different cities.
Totally. Our group was very respectful. Like we all had an element of like, I don't want to say class, but like we knew how to behave in restaurants. We didn't throw things in places. I really don't think we've ever gotten thrown out of some place, honestly, our entire season. We had to leave every place by like 1:15 or 1:30 because they did not want us exiting the clubs at the same time as everybody else. Otherwise there would have been fights and people want to be on cameras. But I do feel our crew was very like, yeah, there were certain places we weren't allowed in because of previous seasons or because of the the reputation that Bad Girls Club had, which we understood.
Of course.
But yeah, no, we were good. We were good on that.
So you were kind of able to film mostly anywhere?
Yeah.
Okay.
True. Yeah.
All right. Last thing I do with all the people that I interview is I want to just play a little bit of a game.
Did you say a game?
A game, yeah.
Oh.
We're playing a game. You like playing games, I know that, so we're playing. So I'm gonna name each of the girls from your season and just give me a positive and a negative about them, okay?
What if I do the negative first and then end on a positive?
Yeah, do that. Yeah, I will. Be petty. Okay, we'll start with Corey.
He said be petty.
No, the fans want.
And we're going off of the TV show, not how I feel about them in real life, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So we're going off of Corey. A negative about Corey. She kind of whined a lot. Like when things wouldn't go her way. It was like, we get it. Like, and a positive would be, I didn't have beef with her. She was always like, that's the thing. She was always good conversation. I don't know. We just had really good conversation. Like just, we laughed. It was like, I learned about her. I actually know a lot about her family from that. Like, so it was her ability to connect. She did connect well. Like we connected well. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I ever saw her like yelling at you or vice versa. Like
we were cool.
I really don't remember one scene of you guys arguing.
And that was my issue with half these people. It's like, we don't have problems. Why are you blindly not talking to me because of somebody else that you don't even know? Like, that was my question. I was like, okay. But yeah, no, it was negative would be the more of like a whiny or like I don't know. And then, and the positive would definitely be that just like ability, she was able to connect with people and we talked.
Okay, and I kind of think I know what you're going to say for the next person. For negative, Jessica.
Oh, I would say her negative was her not being herself. I don't feel like she was herself. The minute we stopped being friends, her entire energy shifted. Whereas we and her were like laughing about like fart or like, the word fart, you know what I mean? It was like, yeah. And then I feel like as soon as she was friends with Char, it just changed. And and she says, I mean, we have, for the record, like her and I, like I have her cell phone number, like even though she doesn't have like Instagram, like we have talked and we are friends, and so yeah. And then the positive for her was she was hilarious.
Yeah, she was really funny. I wish we saw more of her personality, like her sense of humor, because we saw some of it, but I mean, like you're saying, I feel like they should have showed more because I think they just showed too much of her being by Char's side.
Yeah, that's what happens when your ship sails in reality TV. You're stuck.
Yeah, when they have you in that box, I guess it's hard to get out of it.
Totally.
Next is Lauren.
Lauren. Oh my God. I guess her negative would be she fucking drinks so much. Like she drank every day on that show. I was like, where are you, like, how is this what they do in Kentucky? Like you have drank more alcohol in 3 months than straight up that I have drank in my entire adult life to that point.
Country people drink a lot.
They do. She don't play. Like that would definitely be the negative. I felt like for sure. And then the positive was, I don't know, she's my best friend, like on the show, like, and even still to this day, she's one of my best friends. Like we don't have to talk every single day. But what would be her positive in that case is she's also very funny. like very sarcastic. Just like I don't know. It's just she's just a character. Like
literally, you guys together, nobody could have an argument with you.
No, dude, that was great. Hands on your lips, hands on your hips, smile on your lips, and she would just stand there and I'm like, do
it. That's like the thing. Like if I can't have an argument with somebody because they know exactly what to say, just something like the damn Scrabble book or whatever. Like I would just be like, I'm trying to yell at you. Can you please acknowledge me?
Oh, dude, we were dying. Like it was, and that was why I liked Lauren, because it was like catty sorority. Like when we became friends, we're like, yes.
I love it. Next is Wilmarie.
Wilmarie.
At the time when you didn't like her.
Right. I felt like a little bit of disloyal, like when she started to like kind of try to vibe with Jen, and we're like, we already told you about this person. Like, why are you doing this? And that's what I think really kind of set it off. So in that moment, it felt like unauthentic or disingenuine. And then a positive, again, the jokes, like we laughed, like her and I laughed the way that me and Jessica did in the beginning. Like it was just funny, like corny shit, like the plastic bag. This is not bitchy. Like that was funny. Like
yeah.
If you could bring like an element of smile or fun to a situation, like I will be your friend.
Okay. I'm trying to, I hope you can think of a positive for the next person, but I know they weren't in the house songs. Jade.
Jade. I guess the negative part would have been, I definitely considered her weaker for going home. I didn't judge her, but that was like in the moment. And then a positive, no, I think she was, I got a very like artistic vibe from her, like a very creative fashion designy vibe from her, which I thought was like really cool and kind of like inspirational, because I believe she was only recently moved to LA and like this was a new life for her. And I do think that was a cool, like admirable trait. Like you left where you were from to come to LA to pursue something. And then along your way, this was your journey. So I you know, again, we talked after the show briefly because we didn't have issues. It was just, we are early 20-year-old people trying to navigate life without knowing who we are. Like, I don't know who I was at 23. What? Like makeup?
and just being stupid and petty.
Literally.
All right, next is Ashley.
Ashley, she was very wishy-washy. Like she wasn't like, oh, I want to do this or I want to do that. It was just like, okay, I'll go with the flow. You can't be a go with the flow kind of person on BGC. You have to be like, I am doing this because I feel like doing this, or I'm not doing this because I don't want to do it. And then positive for her, she was always very pleasant, always good conversation. I remember, in fact, I remember her because they were like, when we got to San Francisco for that one trip, like they had done my brows, and I was like, so I like she had the fake lashes that were like one by one attached to hers, and I had never seen those before, and I was like, oh my god, what's that? And she's like, oh, you do them one by one, and I was like, where did you learn that? You know, and so I was so used to the strip lashes, right? And so when it came down, like one of the nights that we had gone out in San Fran, like I think they had all done my makeup or something. They had done my eyebrows and done my everything, and I was like, this is so cool. And like, so that was really nice. Like we connected on her level of girly, but she was also offering assistance with me, who was totally a tomboy. So thanks.
When you say one by one, you mean one lash by one lash?
Yes, that was my literally.
How long did that take?
My point. That was my point. So basically, like you have the strip lashes. Basically, the lashes that she had were what in modern day now is like the eyelash extensions where the lash puts them on. But she was like doing them herself. And I was like, I do not have time or patience or care.
Should turn that into a business.
I know. And she was really good at it too. Like,
yeah. Well, that's nice of her to do that for you.
Yeah, it was nice.
How about Jen?
Jen, at the time, she was just annoying. Like she was like everything she said was so loud. Jen, what octave? It was just so loud. And then a positive, honestly, that worked in our favor too. Like it's a double-edged sword. Her being so loud was a negative at the house, but it was actually a positive when we were in public because she was like, I don't get it. And I was like, oh, perfect. Because I lift my voice all the time. Like I've had, for bartending all those years, like I literally developed a cyst on my vocal cord, had surgery, and I physically can't yell over, you know, that's why we actually rescheduled this originally, is because when I go to a place or a music venue or an event, I lose my voice and then I become hoarse. So having her as that loud person was the exact jersey I needed.
Yeah, I mean, and I can get the voice thing. It's just, I think it's the pitch.
That's what it was. And just to let you know, like she is not even 1% like that person right now, like at all, which is funny because but in the moment I was like, oh my God, she's so loud.
Is she like super calm and?
Yeah, she's chill. Like we vibe. Like we're just like I'm super into energy and like astrology and like that world. And she gets it. So we vibe.
All right. So next we got two people left. Next is Sydney.
Sydney at the time. Oh, like just inconsistent. That was like a negative. Like one day it was this, the next day it was this, and it was like your stories don't make sense anymore. So that would be the first thing. The positive is actually her outgoingness, like her IDGAF. Like she had the pink hair, she had the tattoos. Like that's a whole mood. Just like being a bodybuilder, a whole mood. Like that's my thing. Like it takes work to get to this point. There's an element of work that gets to that point. So I appreciated her uniqueness and ability to like be okay in her sexuality, regardless of like what had occurred with the boyfriend and not. And I thought that was very admirable in that moment, for sure.
Okay, cool. And last but not least, your BFF in the house, Char.
Char. The negative, I think, was I feel like she was kind of hypocritical, right? Like on some ways, she's like, I am mature, I'm 27. But on the other hand, it was like, I'm going to be the cattiest person in this place. Cattiest. So that would be the negative. And the positive was just like me. And then we talked about this reunion. She stayed true to who she was the entire time. She wasn't a flip-flopper. She wasn't inconsistent. She wasn't a different person every day. When you got up, it was like, I don't like you. I'm going to walk right by you. Every day we did the same thing. Like, there was nothing to say. So that was the one thing that I respected about her, is that we were our own person. We did what we wanted to do, or we didn't do what we wanted to do. And that's kind of how it like unfolded.
Yeah, totally true. I agree with that.
And again, I have friends of all walks of life. Like, you know, it's like I have friends that are strippers. I have friends that are not. I have friends that are doctors. Like, I don't care what you do in your life. You got to be a good person, and you have to like be a consistent person. And those, I support you in your endeavors, and that's what it is. So
yeah. And I appreciate you for even doing this. And I think we've talked enough about Bad Girls Club. I want to ask you one more thing. It's more personal, because clearly you're somewhere different in life and you've been doing a lot with yourself. And I want you to talk a bit about your bodybuilding and whatever else you do, and tell people where to follow you so they can see and keep up with you. So tell us everything.
Well, I am a full-time personal trainer. I am a full-time psychic medium, and I am a full-time posing coach for the bodybuilding world. So what that means is about a year and a half ago, right? No, like not even a year. Less than a year ago, I became a pro bodybuilder in the IFBB Pro League. I did 4 shows in 2020 during COVID when everything was shut down. I literally rearranged my entire life to get my pro card, and I won my first 2 shows. One was in LA, one was in Denver. So basically what you have to do in order to win your pro card is win at the local level, which means any like local show, not a national show. There are 7 national shows a year, and basically once you've qualified or won at the local level, you can go to the national level to compete. At my first national show, I took 2nd in my class, which is fine. It was my division is a newer division. My division is called wellness, and it only became a thing in 2020 in America. My category is dominated by the Brazilians, so it really originated in Brazil, which is why my coach is in Brazil, because I wanted to go to the top. So after I took 2nd at that show, I did another prep and then won my pro card at that next show and took 1st.
Can I ask you how many people compete in each show?
Oh, it depends. So like national shows are a couple hundred, and it's split up based on height class, right? So there's class A, which is like super short, and they have guidelines. So certain categories go A, B, C, all the way to J, and within each category based on height is 15, 20, 30 people. So of your 30, people, you win.
Right.
So yeah, that was cool. So I'm doing that, opening up my own gym, which is super cool, which is where all of my time is going, and which is why I'm taking a step back from the stage right now, because with competing, if you want to be good, you're all in. Your entire life is eat, sleep, drink. Yeah, this is what you do. And I'm an all-in kind of person. So for me to succeed, I have to be all in on one subject at a time, or otherwise I'm not going to get that. So that's cool. I live in Colorado now, which is super cool.
Okay.
I went to college here. I lived here. I moved to LA. Met my boyfriend at the time, now husband, Nick, of course.
Okay.
We moved to Miami.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Oh yeah. And so we've been together, which is crazy. We've been together 9 years this year. Like what? So we lived in Miami for 5 years, ran our own business there, moved here. We knew we wanted to open up a gym at some point. And part of that was like towards the end of our stay in Miami, we were like, do we do it here? Do we do it not here? But I've always loved Colorado. I think it's a really beautiful place. I think it's very centrally located to like his family in LA, my family on the East Coast. Plus the people here are just so great. So I'm here for a minute. And then what else is going on? That's really it. Competing fitness is my life. Like
Wait, hold on. Can we just acknowledge the fact that you were just like, oh yeah, cool, I made second place. You got second place your first time, and then you made first place the second time.
Yeah.
That is a huge milestone and accomplishment. So congratulations on that, and congratulations on getting married.
Thank you.
That's awesome. I mean, those are two huge accomplishments, and opening a damn gym.
I'm so excited. Like, honestly, winning my pro card was truly the best day of my life, because you get to just watch like what you have put into this journey, and what like you get out what you put in. And so a competitor's like, well, I just don't, you're lazy. That's why I didn't get it. Like, find another solution, right? We're all born a certain way. We all have genetic advantages and disadvantages. We all have, financial differences and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like, if you want to be a competitor and you want to be good, it has to be your whole life. So
have you done any wrestling stuff?
Oh, I did some part-time stuff for them. Okay. So actually, that's actually kind of how I got into competing. So when I was living in Miami, Fred Rosser, good friend, he is one of the first openly gay wrestler, and he was a really good friend of mine. And I had gotten an invite-only tryout for the WWE, and I wasn't sure. Yeah, it was super cool. And so I was like, well, how does this even work? Like, I'm in shape, but like, am I in shape? So I went to this 3-day tryout. Oh my God. Like, I had to learn how to be a gymnast in like a day, like literally running in the air, flip, and then land on my back face up type shit. Like, dude.
What were you like? Oh, like I got cut out for myself.
No, literally, like I drove home from Orlando, like in my car, so sore, like
stiff as fuck.
Yeah, and again, that was a fun experience. But what I realized during that tryout is, I'm meant to work for myself. I'm not meant to be pimped out to make other organizations money. And like that's where I really started to like embark on my marketing and management background in college, and was like, okay, how am I going to be the brand? What does my brand look like? You know what I mean? Like, Fit to Nick. What does that mean? What does that represent? Nick and I, like two Nicks, like what shape do you want to be in? Just so many different things.
It's like such a perfect name too.
Totally. And like our gym name is Nickfinity. Like we have a lot of things that are very branded. Like every logo that we have for a company, like I've created or I put together. So yeah, like I wear many hats. Right now I'm really invested in my clients that are competing. I don't coach competitors. I will do it. But it's not like my forte. I generally prefer to work with general population, lifestyle clients for people that want to be in shape year round, not just for a show. But as of recently, I have been working with a lot of people who are competitors and I'm the posing coach. So that's something that's a really cool, artistic, different angle and different side of the industry I never thought I would be in, but I'm flattered to be doing it. Like I had a girl take first this last weekend. I had a girl take fourth at the pro level. I had a girl take second at the pro level. So
after you training them?
Well, for their posing.
Right? Oh, okay, so like, yeah.
Yep. So they're posing. So it's been cool, and I feel like fitness is definitely my calling and what I'm meant to do in life, and I'm here for it.
Can you flex for us real quick?
What?
Damn. Well, I mean, this is seriously like so awesome. I mean, those are like so many accomplishments that you have made since coming off of that show, and I don't know if anybody saw that coming from you coming off of Bad Girls Club.
I didn't even know if I saw it coming. Like I didn't. Like I really, and that was the thing. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And like when this whole thing came about, I had one semester of college left, and I was like, damn. And my intention was to move to LA after I graduated. And so when this show was being filmed in LA, and I was like, listen, all it does is push my semester back one semester. It gives me a chance to live in LA before I live in LA to see if I even like it. And I was like, you literally only live once. And I know it sounds cheesy, but you do miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So if you are getting these opportunities in life, like the butterfly effect of your life can be so different if you just made one choice differently. And I love that. Like you have to live life as that. And that I embody that every day.
I mean, well, you've made the right choices, and the fact that you own a company is huge to say.
Thank you so much.
So, I mean, I'm happy for you. And guys, tell them where they can follow you so that they can keep up with you.
So you can go to my Instagram. It is fit2nick, FIT, the number 2 NIK, which is the same as our website, fit2nick.com, which is the same as my Twitter, fit2nick, which is the same as my TikTok that I don't use. So don't follow me there. I don't have time. Like people that have real jobs don't have time at TikTok. Unless their job is TikTok. There's a difference.
I hate to say that. Like, I'm like, I hate TikTok. when I'll be laying in bed sometimes and I get caught up and I'm like, why have I been looking at this for an hour? When you look at
Dude,
you're like,
that's my problem. Like one of my clients, she's amazing, but like she'll text me like 15 hair videos and like I was up till 1 a.m. with hair videos. I'm like, how many different ways can you braid a hair? Like, go to bed.
I'm gonna find out tonight.
Basically.
Well, I just want to say again, thank you so much. I mean, this has gone so much longer than how I expected, but I appreciate you for
thank you so much
sticking with me and being so fun during this interview. And guys, you got to follow Nikki and be sure to follow us, follow Formation Productions. Follow me at Don't Touch Maher, and you guys got to subscribe to our YouTube. Mo Visuals, that's where all of our interviews go. We got a lot more coming. But obviously follow Nikki and stay up to date with her. DM her if you guys have not seen her or talked to her in a while. She's
I answer all my DMs.
Yeah, she's like, literally I messaged her and she messaged me like 2 seconds back. I was like, what?
Listen, if you don't answer your future clients or your future business opportunities, there's somebody out there that will.
Well, again, I appreciate it, and thank you for making this so much fun.
Thank you. Listen, I'm behind you 2 hours.
I keep forgetting that. See, it's like 10:30 here. It's like 8:30 there.
It's exactly 8:30. Yep, and I can tell because the sun is somewhat set and it's over the mountain. So, but thank you so much for like even being interested in me. Like I'm just me.
Of course, I mean you were considered an OG. I mean, the season 6.
I'm here for it, man.
I mean, like, you're 17. Like the fans are gonna love to hear from you.
Oh yes.
Yeah, they're so excited.
Awesome.
Well, all right, I'll let you have the rest of your night. Thank you so much, and hope you have a wonderful night. We'll keep in contact, okay?
Thank you so much. You as well. Bye.
All right, thanks. Bye.